Okay, so we've all been in the classic small talk situation where we meet someone and they ask us something like this. What do you do? Where are you from? Where do you live? So if you've ever been like me and it feels like these questions don't do anything to tell someone about ourselves, and yet they feel like labels that we carry around, they can also feel like judgments if we feel like our answers aren't good enough, successful enough, flashy enough, or any other number of judgments we might make. But is there another way to do it? Do we have to stay stuck in this pattern of small talk? So a few concepts came together for me recently and were an aha moment. So first, there is this fascinating field of narrative psychology, and it explores how the stories we tell influence things like our own self-perception, our identity formation, and the word identity simply means the traits or qualities that make us unique. But it usually is associated with things like self-image, self-concept. So in other words, how do I view myself? And how do I tell my own story? But we often run into the question of which story do I tell? And which part of my story do I tell to this audience? So as humans, we like to order things and put them into boxes. we really like to have black and white and certainty in our lives. So the questions we ask of others are often our way of doing that. Where do you live? Go in this box. What job do you do? Go in that box. Where are you from? Go in this box over here. What are your politics? What are your faith? What are your hobbies? So there's so many questions that we ask, that we use to try to organize how others fit into our world and how we fit into the world around us. So often it may be that it seems like the boxes we or others fit in just don't go together. Our boxes are too different, and it's easy to feel alone and like all of who you are doesn't matter. But what if the way we ask questions of each other could change this? So recently I've been doing some work on how we build bridges of belonging with people who seem different than us. So one of the first principles that I learned about is that belonging is not about conformity or being in the same box as someone else, but it's about being seen, being heard, and being valued for all of who we are. Othering, which is the opposite of belonging, is not just hate, that's the extreme form of it, but it's what happens when we flatten the identities of other people. In other words, when we only see or recognize one aspect of who they are, and not all of who they are. When we only let them claim one box. So when we flatten people, our brains don't recognize them as human, but as objects. So it's so cool that our brains recognize that to be human is to be more than one thing, that we all have many aspects of who we are. In the work to help us build belonging, I've found that asking someone to tell their story, how they came to where they are in life, what things matter to them, gives insight into a lot of facets of who they are. So telling our stories allows us to reveal and show multiple aspects of who we are, different experiences that we've had, and how our values can influence lots of different parts of our lives. It allows us to step into diverse and varied experiences that we all have had. Right? None of us just have one experience that just repeats over and over and over. And it allows us also to learn from the experiences that I will never have, because my experiences are different than everyone else's. So asking questions that lead to this storytelling allows me to expand my view of the world and what is possible, to better understand how we all fit together and how we can support each other. So what if we could have this kind of experience more often? This was the aha moment for me. What if we put all those concepts together, and perhaps the answer is to change the questions that we ask on a daily basis? What if we stop trying to put people in boxes with our questions? What if we ask questions about their stories? Tell me a little bit about who you are. Or what is most important to you right now? Or what are you excited about? What are you hopeful about? I've learned so much from what you just said and what you shared. Thanks for sharing. Now, I know those questions can feel a little bit awkward because it's out of the norm. What I have found is that if I am willing to be a little bit awkward at first, to listen, to learn, and to express sincere appreciation for the story that someone has shared with me, I get further down the road of connection with them. What I learn is worth the awkward. If you applied this in your life, what questions would you ask to start seeing more of who someone is and not just put them into boxes? Let's try it out. Feel free to share your questions or even your experiences in trying them out, and let's learn together if we can change the questions we ask and then hear more of the stories that others around us have to tell. We'll see you next time.